welcome. Tonight we're kind of flipping the cameras around. For the 6 loyal viewers of the show and the viewers that watch all the other shows produced at Milford TV, you never quite get to see all the people behind the cameras. You never get to really understand how much goes into the productions and keeping this place going so that we have the gem that we call Milford TV. Tonight we're going to introduce you to a couple very special people. Well, one special one, but let's start with introductions and let you see the people that really work hard and give us our opportunity to bring our shows across the wire into your homes.
Thanks, Al. Well, my name's Liz Harkins, and I am the new executive director here at Milford TV. And I have been here since day one, really, of Milford TV opening as the member services coordinator. And we are sad to say that we had to see Rob leave, but he kind of set everything up to give us a really good place, well, gave me a really good place to kind of pick up. So really, that I want to send that over to our newest individual.
So I'm Nick Coelho. I am the new member services coordinator at Milford TV. I was recently just hired a few months ago, and I interned here when I was going into my junior year of college. So then I came back. Liz gave me the opportunity to come back and be the member services coordinator. And I love this job. It's great. I enjoy it very much, even though my members might be a little harsh sometimes. No.
Who would be harsh on you?
But yeah. So I was here for a while ago, interned. I learned so much, and now I get to have the opportunity to give that back to interns and volunteers who are wanting to come here and learn, and that's what I really enjoy about this place.
I mean, just to go a little off that, honestly, I feel that is really what we are here to do, is we are an access station to give the community an opportunity to come in, learn how to utilize this equipment, provide an opportunity for interns, individuals who may not have, the drive just to do academic related schooling, whereas this is like an alternative type of education that they can get.
Yeah, exactly.
And seeing how you came in as an intern, and then that kind of created other opportunities for you. And that's really what I love about Milford TV, is that it's a home for other opportunities.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So.
Well, I mean, all kidding aside, because once in a blue moon I may razz some of the staff.
It's all in good fun.
The passion that they show really does make it easy to come down. I remember when we first started taping shows, we were in the closet, because it really was a closet, of Comcast. And you could only view 120 degree width, because if you went 125, you were seeing the boxes and the garbage that was stacked up. So, it's amazing to think hasn't been that many years where we've come.
You started in that little hole in the wall there, and we had RJ, who started out of the little hole in the wall at the high school when we shifted our existence over there. And I completely agree to see where your show has come from there, and how you've been able to really expand on that and utilize everything that Milford TV has to offer is really awesome to see. Where you're in your 500th and 90
now 600 and
oh my 600
yeah,
and
he
something.
broke the 600 mark.
Broke the 600
we didn't
mark.
celebrate.
That's for 1,000.
We'll celebrate at 750 if we're still going.
All right.
Liz, people don't understand, what is Milford TV?
Milford TV, I want to say that's a loaded question, but I feel like we have multiple sides to the coin here. We are a local access station, a public entity where we can have individuals come in, learn how to utilize equipment, edit, have industry professionals be able to help them every step of the way. And we are another entity. We are a staff of professionals who go out and give and provide the community with coverage of your sporting events, municipal meetings, like your FinCom meetings. So we are multiple things, but really we are part of the Milford community.
But when we hear it's a PEG access, what is a PEG?
PEG. That would be public, educational, and government programming. So that is our initiative, is to cover all of the above, making sure that we do our due diligence to cover anything and everything that has to do with anything that the community is interested in and maybe not so interested in, but we want to make sure everybody's aware of.
Now, I remember when we first started, out of 24 hours a day, we had maybe 23 hours blank space. You know, we were lucky to get a couple hours a day on programming. How much programming do you have now?
More than we can put on our channels. So much so that one of the things that we are, fingers crossed, hoping for is actually a third channel, to be able to actually, that third channel potentially is going to be HD, we're hoping for, which means...
That would be an accomplishment.
Which is something that I know we've all been pushing for, to see your program up there in the quality that it is recorded in. So we're all set up on our end right now to be able to push that forward, so long as things work in our favor when we renegotiate those contracts with Verizon.
Well, I remember originally we had 3 stations, 3 channels. We gave one up to get the Portuguese channel.
Which is still provided for free by Comcast, which is great. But we did lose our third channel when that was renegotiated.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, like we just didn't, we don't get it. They held on to it, so they provide it for the community. So Comcast still provides that. Verizon never did. We just never got a third channel from Verizon. That kind of got lost somehow.
Got missed.
It did. So that's something that I've really tried to revisit since we are due for our renewal.
Yeah, because I mean, that was something that we always said we wanted to retain the use of the third channel, just in case we got to a point, and everybody laughed, that we would fill up the first 2 channels.
We're getting there.
But it seems like now we're there.
We
or
are.
Close.
We are absolutely there. We've been there. Really, right now, we have to turn away bicycled shows. And for those who don't know what bicycled shows are, they're shows that come in from outside of
Bicycle?
the community. they ride in on over from
That's
other communities.
what the PEG stands for. PEG access. It's on the bike.
You're very punny now.
I try. You can cut that.
But I mean, realistically, the public is things like events in Milford, right? Anything that's of interest. What kind of public shows do you do?
Well, that'd be public coverage. more
Right,
so,
but what
yeah.
kind?
Concerts.
Claflin Hill
Claflin
Orchestra
Hill,
is one of the bigger events that we cover. We do a full multi-cam production on things like Claflin, as well as school-related content as well.
Well, you got church, you know, St. Mary's,
Yeah, we have
people who
the-
can't make it out to the masses.
So we actually don't provide that. We don't cover that.
That's member.
That's actually a member
Yeah,
program.
But again, to me, nobody cares.
You
know,
don't care,
you're
it's
you're
nowhere
at
it
Milford
comes from.
Hospital or you're home and you can't make it out, whether it's done by Milford TV staff or volunteers, they want to see it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's the great thing about our members, because so many people like to cover so many different walks of life and things that like that, because that's technically not our staff programming, but it's still covered for us. You know, stuff like that. You know, we get all sorts of different things that people like to cover. So it's what interests them. I mean, you know, you yourself do. You know, you do politics. I mean, we don't cover politics. Well, we do during elections, but you know what I mean. We don't throughout the year. I mean, you cover that. So you know, it's member-related programming, but that's what drives us in a lot of sense. So.
Well, that was one of the biggest things that we wanted to take on, because when you think about it, election night in Milford, we know it's the center of the universe and it should be covered. But there's 6 billion or 7 billion people out there who don't know we're the center of the universe. So we never know who won the elections. You know, in a year like this year where it's going to be hard to predict who's going to come out on top on some of these elections. You don't want to wait till the next day, you know.
No, and that's one of the great things that Milford TV and yourself have been able to partner up with on, where our staff is able to provide that to the community pretty much minutes after we get the numbers. We put it right in, and they have it.
Well, it's come so far because we used to have a big Post-it note, and we put the numbers down and try and keep running tabs of, okay, who's leading, and now all of a sudden Mr. Tim comes in and we got a fancy board and professional-looking layouts.
Yeah.
Sure beats the marks a lot that I used to have. So now education, that's everything to deal with the schools?
Yes.
Yes.
I'd say is that the bulk of our program, would you say? Or
I wouldn't say that's the bulk.
You wouldn't say it's the bulk,
There's
but-
definitely a list of other public related programming that we cover, but educational that goes to on like plays. What else do we cover educational wise? We cover any type of lectures, or we just did a piece this past spring regarding MIFA. So we were able to cover a presentation to provide that to the parents in the community, because parents, they all have children in multiple, age groups.
Sure.
And there were so many of those parents who couldn't attend that because one of their kids was actually performing in one of the ensembles the same evening. So we had many people call in asking if we had actually covered the event, and I'm thankful we did, because we were able to provide so many a service that they really, I don't think, realize is out there, right, is still for them. So the more we can get out there to inform people, let us know what you would like us to cover. Because as much as I try to do my due diligence to reach out to administration, to reach out to the school system, to the town municipalities, there might be an event that I'm not aware of just yet. So send over those press releases.
No, but you start thinking about 3-4 times a year, Kevin comes on to talk about what's happening in the Milford school system. We've got Pete Boucher coming on saying what's happening in the sports belt of the Milford school system.
I mean, he was just here for the superintendent update too. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So that's something that that Tim does for the news. He has so he has the superintendent come in, and Kevin McIntyre, his name was slipping me for a second, but he'll come in and he'll invite different faculty and staff, and they'll talk about what's going on in the school systems as well. Different.
Yeah, by school.
Yeah.
Because if I've got a kid in Stacy, I mean, it's nice to hear about the rest, but I want to know what's happening in Stacy.
Yeah.
I want to know what programs are open. What should I be looking for? Now, is that mainly channel 11 and 40, or does it get all mixed now?
It's channel 11 and 40 for educational, and you'll have channel 8 and 38 for public. The only time you'll see some things that are kind of mixed is those promotional videos. Well, if you have an upcoming play and we just put it on educational, we're not sharing all of that with everyone. So promotional video content will still kind of use as fair weather programming to fill in those little spots in between programs.
And now government. That's local Milford government?
Yes.
Because we see with FinCom, Selectmen, zoning. Trying to think if there's anything I'm missing.
Did you say planning?
Planning.
Yeah.
Planning, zoning, yeah. And I mean, that's always something, you hear. Did you hear what happened at the Selectmen's meeting? And then people can at least go look.
They can.
Yep.
One of the great benefits that we have just in the past since June, really, that we were able to implement, we have a new VOD system. So for those who don't know,
VOD.
VOD.
Video on demand. So for those who were used to us on YouTube, we are now on video on demand, which means it's its own platform. So you're not going in there having to deal with any commercials. So you go right to vod.milfordtv.net. So we tried to make it as easy as possible to access, but you can always just go straight to our website as well to get there. But you can go right to that planning board, that Board of Selectmen meeting, and you are wondering about what they were talking about during that one agenda item. Well, now you don't have to sit there and watch and try to find that and pinpoint exactly when it was because no one told you the time. You can click on an agenda item right in our video on demand site, and it'll bring you right to that moment where they start talking about that item. And at which point you save yourself a lot of time having to sit there and just kind of skim through and watch. But we hope everyone is skimming through and watching.
So Willie's been fast forwarded out. He's like, okay, I don't want to hear him, or I don't
Yeah.
want to see Mike or Bill.
Yep.
I just fast forward right through him.
You just click it, and it brings
could,
you right
if
to
you
where you need
wanted
to go.
to.
Oh yeah.
Poor
Not bad.
guys. So you got the PEG access. Now the question always comes out is, who pays for this?
The community. The community actually pays $3 to every cable subscriber to Verizon or Comcast. It's part of their bill. So if you actually look into that, you can see it right in the fine print.
Yeah, you see that little line that says franchise fee?
Yep.
Or cost of franchise, I think is Comcast.
And at which point we get the franchise fees from Comcast and Verizon within the Milford community. Every town's a little different. The percentages will change depending on the community, the population, and the actual company themselves. So some people have charter, but we in Milford are Comcast and Verizon.
And when you look at that, it's only the subscribers.
Correct.
Milford Town pays nothing.
No.
So if you're on DirecTV, you can't see it.
Correct.
You'd have to go to the website.
You have to go to the website, or it depends on if you have like a Roku TV, which we're available on. Look at me,
Yeah, look
I
at
know what
you.
we're talking about.
So that's actually
Yeah, if you want to
go
ahead.
elaborate.
Oh, well, so our video on demand is available actually through the Roku. Are you familiar with Roku, Al?
It's one of the things I don't have between the Hulu, the Prime, the Netflix,
The Disney Plus,
the Disney
HBO
Plus we
Go.
now have,
Yep, there's a lot out there.
right? And I've got DirecTV.
Yeah.
Well, now you're going to want Roku.
Now I'm going to sell you on Roku. No.
Why do I want Roku?
No, why do you want Roku? Well, no, it's good to. It's for us. For you
But I
can
have
watch.
cable for you.
Well, you don't need. So the thing is, with Roku, you can actually watch us through the Roku app through
Yep.
the VOD. So it won't be actual cable, but you will actually be able to use the VOD to watch programming. You can select your programming and all that good stuff. You can also watch or is it it's just the live, like it's the live feed of the actual Milford TV, the educational or the public channel. And you can use that to watch Milford TV through streaming instead of having to watch cable.
Yeah, so really, Al, you do have cable here in Milford, so you do probably watch it right on your TV. But
Not
I know
everyone
how
does.
much you travel. So if you were, let's say, hopefully not in China anytime soon,
No.
but let's say you're somewhere else and you happen to have that Roku on whatever TV you're at, and hopefully all hotel rooms will have Roku someday. But you can download Milford TV right from Roku. And be able to watch all the Milford TV content that you would get on video on demand. But you also, again, you have your computer, so you can do that too.
But now what's on, when we talk about the website, what is available through the website about Milford TV?
Through the video on demand.
Through video on demand?
So what is up on video on demand?
Yeah, like, what can I go get? Can I get old selectmen's meetings, old planning meetings?
So as of June, so you can find anything from June 2019, I'd say May 2019, up on VOD. So that's all programming that we have covered since then. So every municipal meeting, every school event, graduations, everything and anything will be available to right up there since that date. Anything before then, we are slowly going to be kind of working our way backwards, and we're going to try to make a lot of that content available there as well. But as of right now, you can still see that content up on YouTube as well. If you want to go into
How far do you
history.
go back?
Right now, we started with just May. Moving forward, since we produced so much content, we've been keeping up with that. So our goal is to have quite a bit of our archive on VOD, and that's ultimately my goal, is to make everything we've ever covered at Milford TV available for you right there. In my eyes, one of the biggest benefits to VOD and having everything up there, you go to YouTube. Can you download that file? Can you share it?
Not legally.
You can't.
That's the right answer.
So on VOD, you can actually, there's a share link and a download link. So whatever municipal meeting that you were just watching, well, I want to share this with my friend, or I want to just save it on my computer. You can click the download, and it'll be made available to you right on your desktop in a matter of minutes.
So now, Grandma wants to see Little Sally's recital.
Mm-hmm.
Is that going to be up on there?
It will.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it'll be up there, and then, they can download it, keep it for themselves for whenever they want, because that's the purpose of downloading. You don't need to have an internet connection once you download it. It's there for
because
you.
I don't think it's legit to rip videos down off YouTube, is it?
It's not. You can't technically do it. I mean, not saying that people don't do it, but it's technically,
if
you have to
anybody
use like
ever-
a third-party website.
I was going to say,
do
if
all that
anybody ever looked, it seems like, not that I would know personally
stuff.
about
Oh,
this.
yeah, no, hey.
But that for 6 months you use one website and then that gets shut down, and then you have to go find another website and use that till that gets shut down.
You seem like you know a lot about it.
I've read a lot.
Okay.
But this VOD now, legitimately, I could go and download any of my shows.
You could.
And like, why wouldn't we want anyone to have our content? We want people to be watching.
We do, and we want to make it as available to our community as possible. Just having everything, having the searchability and having everything just out there for you. So that's kind of been my goal since I've been here.
Now, I know there was a lot of anxiety when Rob was here about Congress taking out the mandatory local contribution.
Still a fear. We, over the past, since August 1st, when the ruling was put forth, where they actually voted for the changes, which meant that we were supposed to see changes in November.
But explain what it was. What were they trying to do?
So the small cell ruling, as what they were trying to do was change how we appropriate our funding, so that they could essentially create more funding for their projects. So essentially what it means is we were going to have our funding cut the way we were receiving it. So how they were able to do that and how they could logically, in their eyes, because I don't see the logic behind this, I feel like they're just trying to, find.
Well, I mean, initially, when we think way back, I could see they had an argument because they were spending a couple $100,000 a year subsidizing, wasn't Milford TV, but Milford Cable. And there was an hour or two a day up there. So you could argue that there's not really that much there. There's not a lot of information getting out. Today, I'd be amazed if somebody would make that argument. I mean, let's face it. You watch a play at Milford High School. Is it Broadway quality? Dang straight it is. Got my daughter in it. You know what I mean?
There you go.
Don't ask me to be objective. I'm not going to look at this as, a critic's eye that's judging a play in Boston or New York. These are Milford kids. So if it's your cousin, your daughter, granddaughter, this is the best thing in the world. So I don't see the argument today that it's not being used. But is Milford typical of what local access does?
I would say Milford is not.
Yeah.
We are very atypical when it comes to PEG access. We definitely are leading our, I want to say our nation, not even just our state, in a direction where we are actually having other access stations mirror our structure. Not saying that we originated the structure of who we are, We actually had a great hand from Bob over at New TV. But
New TV?
New TV in Newton.
Oh, I was going to say, the old
Yeah,
TV?
it was
new
actually funny. You were saying that yesterday to me,
Yes.
new TV, and I was like, what? And
It's
then,
better than old TV.
it's better. I heard.
There are access stations in the state of Massachusetts that are definitely, I'd say, on par with us. Then there's some that are a little behind, but that's through no fault of their own. It's the structure. And we were really, really lucky when we had Andy and our board established to be able to create the foundation that we are building off of at this point, and continue to.
Now, you say structure. I mean, Milford TV is obviously Milford. But it's not tied to the Milford town government, right?
No. So the town essentially created this board to take over what PEG access was, what access is supposed to be in the community. The town could have ran it if they want to. There are some municipalities that do. But the town wanted to create this separate entity that would still be by contract. We still have to cover Board of Selectmen, for instance, which we've expanded on, and we've covered other municipal meetings just because we know it needs to be done. And it's not by contract. We just know it's information that the community needs. So.
But by contract, selectmen's meeting. Isn't that about it?
That's it.
I was going to say, I don't remember when the negotiations and all were going on, or even prior, that anything but the selectmen. And since the selectmen negotiated the contract, what a surprise that the selectmen's meetings were hardwired in. But you start thinking about the investment. It's probably, what, $500,000 a year or so?
Just about.
Just about. I mean, that's a big investment. But if it was cut off, I'd be hard-pressed to believe that the town wouldn't pony up the money to keep it going. 15 years ago, not a prayer.
My hopes is, we've been in an appeal since November. So my hopes is that we never see this come to fruition and it doesn't impact us at all. But on that note, I've brought this to our Board of Selectmen, and my hopes is, as you've said, everyone backs Milford TV, and we're hoping to keep doing what we've been doing to keep getting the support we hope to get.
Well, being educated on what's happening with the selectmen, what's happening at town meeting, I mean, all of those things are really critical. But if I had a bet, being in Milford, if grandma can't see her granddaughter or grandson on the play, you'll get more emotion out of that. Because there is something, I mean, we've got a show here that I get such a, Milford Performs. What is that? You think about it, what is that? It's our kids. It's Broadway quality, no matter what anybody tells me. The Oscars have nothing to compare with the local shows that people present.
I mean, that's part of the reason that I really think this place, because this is in I can't really speak for other PEG access stations. I don't really know how well they operate, but here the fact that taking interns just straight out of high school is so advantageous. I never had an internship in high school, and the fact that they can come here and learn so much. I mean, we have interns in there. We had one intern who started recently, and just the other day he turned over this this video within a very short amount of time, and it's good. It's really good, and so it's just watching them kind of progress and get better and better. And we could do that through member programming, through our own programming, but they come in and they learn so much, and that's part of the reason why it's important to them as well as the community. It's for them to learn too.
And that was the hardest thing when we had the old studio. I mean, when Paul Revere put it in, it was probably state of the art. But it was hard to get kids who've grown up in the microprocessor, advanced electronics age, to sit there and say, you turn this dial and it'll light this tube. You know, they'd come in and the technology was so antiquated, you couldn't get them interested. Here, I mean, let's face it, you've got state-of-the-art cameras, and if nobody's seen the place, the control room, I mean, that's NASA. You know, and no matter what people say, you know, well, this play should have been better, they could have done the music. Wait a minute, those kids are our kids doing the music. You can't get better. You know, you just can't. I mean, I laugh because, you know, I've said I got 4,500 kids in the school system. I love seeing them all.
I mean, just the other day when I saw you a few weekends ago, you were there, of course, Milford kids all around you.
That was strange.
That was funny.
I walked in to the Heart Center up at Holy Cross where I take pictures of the basketball team. Who's under the net with the video camera?
You can't run away.
No, there he was. And then as I'm walking away from him, there's a whole group of kids, and they're all wearing Milford Hawks.
I can't escape. I see Al over there with the camera, and I see all these little kids wearing Milford Hawks jerseys, and I was like, I can never escape Milford.
You're in Milford.
But that was like, you know, this is better than the NBA. It's our little kids.
Oh, yeah. It was great.
You know, and you take a pride. You take a lot of pride in seeing it. And then what you bring up is really profound, that we're giving kids an opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, I was in college when I came here. I was way older than all the kids that I'm teaching right now, and I learned so much, and I got so many opportunities through that. And just them coming here at the age, I mean, yesterday, I have these kids who are coming in, and they're in middle school, and I'm, you know, over here like helping, you know, myself and Mike, our producer, we're creating a set for them, and it's like, you know, he lights professionally as well, you know, in here, and so we were lighting the set together and just like showing them kind of everything when they were asking questions about like, what's that do, and you know, being able to explain to them that, and I mean, at their age, like, you know, I didn't know anything at their age. I was walking around with a video camera.
Back when Malcolm the Wunder Kid was here, or there was this brand new employee called Liz, who quietly came up to me and said, you know, those openings for your show, they're getting a little tired. And I was like, what do you mean? And one of the kids said, yeah, Mr. C, that analog printer sound. I had no idea what they were doing. What, an analog printer? And I'm thinking, the old green barbs dot matrix? No, it dawned on me. I had to go think about it. It was a typewriter.
Oh, that's
Tick,
what
tick,
it
tick,
was.
tick. And to this young girl, it was an analog printer. And it dawned on me, they grew up when typewriters didn't exist. You know, and yet somehow I thought it was the coolest thing. And you did it. You took a group of kids to different medical facilities. And our TMS medical review, that intro was all that group taking video at the emergency room, at the eye center, up the street, and bringing it all together. I thought that was the coolest thing in the world.
It's a nice open. They did a great job.
Oh, I love the opening, but the idea that the kids now got an experience, that they got to go out and that, you know,
That's what I
They
think
really
is
got a full
invaluable,
experience with that one too, because I mean, if anyone knows what filming anything at any medical facility, there's a lot of things you have to you encounter a lot. You have to be aware of certain shots you can't get. You have to be completely clean in certain scenarios, or be provided a room where you don't have to worry about that. So you helped arrange all that, which was great.
Yeah, but it was Uncle Ed. You know, it was Ed Kelly. It was Jeff Hopkins opening up the ER. You know, it was different physicians opening up their offices. That's Milford. You know, here was a group. The last thing the Milford Medical Center needs to do is spend time helping little kids learn how to put together an intro. They're there to take care of patients, but I didn't think Jeff or anybody complained once.
Not once. They were more than accommodating and very helpful. And they treated the kids like professionals, which was even, in my eyes, better, just having the kids be able to feel like they were part of that crew.
Now, there's a huge fee to be a member of Milford TV.
It's steep. It's a steep $15 annually. And I mean, yes, there is a fee. I wish there wasn't because I want the doors to be open to everyone. But the great thing is, you don't have to sign up as a member if you don't want to. You can come in and just volunteer. You can come in and still get all of Nick's experience and training.
Yeah, like right now, we have a training going on in the control room for this taping of this show right now. And it's great because, they come in and people can help us. It takes a lot of work off my plate, a lot of stuff that I need to do if we have volunteers. And it's great to train volunteers because they get the experience of learning and all that stuff. They don't have to pay the membership fee. Again, it's $15.
But I mean, again, $15 a year.
Yeah, no, it's
Yep,
nothing.
it's
But
negligible.
And you start thinking about if people want to learn how to edit.
yeah, and we'll give you stuff
What do we
to
have?
edit.
6 state-of-the-art editing rooms?
We do. 3 rooms, 6 bays.
6 computers.
Okay. 3 rooms, 6 bays.
Yes. Well,
That's
it's
because we have people now. It used to be we had all those empty rooms.
We have a number of people. We actually had one of our old interns as well, Joey Marcello, who just finished. Is he finished editing? I'm not sure if he's finished
he
yet.
finished the rough cut just now.
But
10
he
minutes ago.
just finished his 4th feature, or short film.
Yeah, short film. Yeah. Yep.
And seeing him lock himself in one of those edit bays and
so
edit
fun.
for 6 hours straight, 5 days in a row.
Yeah. I'll go in
When
and
you
check
think
on
about it, he's not being charged access to a state-of-the-art editing room.
No.
I mean, that could really put a damper on
He
some
would
kids
have to
doing it.
pretty much go down to, because he goes to school at Quinnipiac, he'd have to go down to Quinnipiac to probably get what he would need for editing, the
On
computers.
par with what we have.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what, 2-hour drive?
And he actually did, and unfortunately,
Yeah, and Premiere wasn't updated. He went down, he told me, he went down, he texted me, and he's like, I got to Quinnipiac, and Premiere isn't updated to the version of Premiere that, the editing program, to the version that we have here. So they don't even have Premiere 2020 there, which we did, which is kind of funny. So,
Which,
so he couldn't even, which stinks for him, he couldn't work on it, but.
we do try to keep things state of the art, but that does mean that you tend to need to come back to us.
But now, if somebody wants to learn how to edit, okay, I come in and I say, I'd like to learn.
Okay. What happens?
I'm at the front door.
Okay.
I
great.
want to learn.
So if you want to learn how to edit, well, first of all, if you were a stranger, not Al, I would probably see if first you were interested in becoming a member, because my primary, I guess our primary focus is trying to get programming. So if you want to learn how to edit, that's great, and I'll definitely teach you that. But if you have an idea behind what you want to edit, then that's even better, because then we can make a show out of it. If not, if you just want to learn how to edit and learn about production, then that's great too. And I'll bring you in. And so basically something that I like to do, an editing exercise that I like to do, because there's really, I think the point of learning how to edit is also how to shoot. So what I like to do is have people create a news package about Milford TV. And I'll have us go in all the different rooms, like the studio, the control room, the edit bay. And they'll go in and I'll talk while they record, and I'll teach them how to use the equipment, the audio stuff, all that, and have them record me in each room discussing Milford TV, kind of almost like we're doing now. And then I'll sit down with them and teach them how to edit that into a news package. And we'll get B-roll to layer over the cuts. We'll get music. We'll create titles. It's a very basic way to teach someone how to edit.
B-roll?
So B-roll is when, say, we're talking about this lovely lit set, and I'm up on talking about it. Then I'd have somebody get video of the set, like a slow pan across the room, and then while I'm talking about it, you would put that over me
So it's
talking
like
about
background footage.
it. Yes, except it's in the foreground. But yeah, exactly. Yep, it's B-roll. It's not exactly what I'm talking, but it's what I'm talking about to supplement the footage. So that would be something that we would do. That would be a way to teach you how to edit. There are multiple editing programs, and I'm always happy to take the time to teach someone how to edit.
Well,
or
and
to
if they
shoot
want to
or
learn
anything.
how to shoot,
Yeah.
there's obviously ample opportunities
Yeah.
that they can volunteer on
Oh, yeah.
people's shows.
Oh yeah, volunteer on the shows, or even any of our programming that we need help with. We can always get people to help us, and I'll take out an intern or a volunteer sometimes, and they'll come out and help me shoot something. Or like the senior center is a great tool for teaching, because it's not exactly anything super intense that you're going to miss something, but you want to create something, a solid good piece, and you can use the senior center as like one of their healthy living luncheons where they have a presenter or something, and you can get.
And plus, again, it's like retro. It's the opposite when looking for your grandkids.
Mm-hmm.
How many times have heard people say, "Oh, there's Allie's grandmother," or again, it's Milford people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's Bobby DeVita making food. There, it's Milford. It's kind of nice to see familiar faces and such.
Oh, yeah.
While you're learning.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and they get all those opportunities to. I mean, I think it was at the Thanksgiving one. Senator Fatman was there, and I know you've had him on your show. He was there. We got to interview him. A bunch of other people that were there.
Brian Murray.
I think Scott was
yep.
volunteering. Scott Crisfolli from the Highway Department. So just a bunch of people from around Milford, and it's nice to see everyone and get to say hello.
Well, one of the things that we take pride in is bringing to life the candidates. Because let's face it, you're not going to see who's running for the school committee on BZ.
No.
It's not going to be on Boston TV. And too many times, all you're going to see is the little ads or the snippets. And luckily, Milford, I've been pretty proud of the fact that 90% of the candidates play clean. You don't get a lot of, he sucks, but I suck less, so vote for me. And we've seen that in a lot of politics. But you can't get a feeling off a newspaper ad.
Yeah.
No.
And the town crier only comes out every other week. So it's not like you're getting continuous. The Daily News, I think it's still Milford Daily News, I'm not sure, but the Daily News, I mean, you're lucky to find anything about Milford in it anymore.
Yeah, and and you do a great job with your coverage of the politics.
Well, but see, the nice part is, I feel in Milford, people want to know who you are. They want to know your positions and all, but especially the older Milfordians. How many times a nice boy or nice girl, I like her. That's important to them. It's our little town, and they want to make sure that whoever is not dictating, but sculpting 8 hours a day or 6 hours a day of their grandkids or their children's lives has the same values that they do. And you're never going to get that off a newspaper ad, because everybody's going to say, I'm great, vote for me, I love Milford. Yeah, what have you done to show me? Whereas at least, most candidates for the major seats will come on Milford TV for an hour individual. And let's face it, except for their wives and their mothers, their husbands and mothers, nobody's going to watch 58 straight minutes. They'll get tired of them. But they can watch it several times. The whole month of March, 12 times a week, you all have been good enough to allocate an hour, 12 times a week, to spotlight a candidate.
And you do one even better, not just covering the individual candidate, but you do
the candidate night.
The candidate nights, which I feel really is a nice addition to those individuals. You can get a really good idea as to who your candidate is, but then really see what their stance is when they actually have an opportunity to discuss and debate. So that's always nice to.
I wish we could do, this year the library position seems to be the one that's heating up.
You were talking about this.
Oh, God, I think there's like 4 or 5 people going for it. School will be at least 3 going for 2 spots. Maybe, I think there's a 4th person who pulled papers. But I haven't heard anything. We invite everybody on the show. It's fair is fair. We don't have to, I found out. Since you don't take credit or blame for anything I do, I could just invite, people from Tasmania and ignore everybody else.
You could if you wanted
have to
to.
call
But
it
it's
That
not the
Tasmanian
spirit.
Show.
That Tasmanian show.
That would be-
No, but it's not the spirit. The idea is whether I'm for you or not. My feeling is I owe it to you to show everybody. And I've had my moments where people have poked fun at our kids, and I got to bite my tongue because I'm not real happy when you make fun of any of my 4,500 kids. You know, I mean, but it is what it is. I mean, Aldo Chakey and I love Aldo. He's so important to Milford. But for I don't know how many years we fought over fireworks. Because I always wanted to fund the $18,000 to have Milford fireworks. And Aldo would come out legitimately, logically saying we could use that money for school programs. And I couldn't argue with him, but it's Milford.
The kids want the fireworks too.
The families like I did the Boston thing once.
Yeah. We
It
have
wasn't
fireworks
the
in,
same.
Yeah, my
Being
town
down
has
at
fireworks.
Plains Park and having John Echevelli or Keith Katazzi sneak me a hot dog from the Lions, or watching Ronnie Ozier, you know, that walking around seeing all my neighbors, that felt like Milford. You know, so offering people some insight into the individual candidates feels good. The candidate night feels good. Even election night. I mean, you've got Tim, the professional, you know, the voice, standing there, perfect, following, you know, all whatever protocol announcers are supposed to follow. You can hear him, you can see him. And then you got Kevin and I.
Yeah.
I mean, thank God Tim, I shouldn't say this. I don't mean to make fun of Tim, but thank God Tim wasn't around the year that we did the redistricting. We were there till 9:30. It was 9:45. The results still aren't in. We got so desperate that Kevin interviewed Trapper the dog. Warren Heller came in with his dog. The dog went over to Kevin, and next thing he knows, Kevin's interviewing the dog. I think poor Tim would have had a heart attack, because nowhere in the professional announcer's manual does it say, this is how you interview a dog.
That's it. You had to make
We
the
call
rules.
those fluff pieces.
Yeah.
Fluff pieces.
A little fluff piece for you. Hey, I mean, when you're looking for something, you just got to find it.
You know, I don't know, Liz, I can't agree with you, because the thought of Kevin Rudden or me being called fluff, I'm sorry. No. I mean, rotund, old, yes, but I can't imagine. And I'm speaking for Kevin when I shouldn't, but I think he would agree that he would not be thinking he's called a fluff.
He would show you some wilderness.
Yes,
Survival.
so other pictures would come to mind if you said fluff. And Kevin and I would not be in that group. Now, when we look at people coming in saying, I think I'd like to do a show.
Sure.
You know, we started when, 600 some shows ago, that Milford show started. And it was actually called All Politics Are Local,
Yes.
the first few shows. I wanted to do one show because I felt guilty. I was chairman of the FinCom. And people didn't know what we were spending back then, $70 million in their money on. Since I was chair of the cable committee back then, I came down the studio and I said, yeah, I'd like to do a show and walk through the 40 articles. Not to try and convince them yay or nay, because like when I mentioned Aldo, he and I had the biggest fights over fireworks. And I respect his opinion. Then we'd come down, do the town meeting show, and Chris Moran would tick me off because he would take the position of we should fund the fireworks. Wait a minute, that's my position. So I'd have to take the Aldo position that we shouldn't. You know, but that started TMS because it was to go through and let everybody know, what are we spending your money on?
Yep.
And that was important because it goes to town meeting. It's been, you know, everybody says, oh, everything passes without argument. Yeah, that's because we've been arguing for 3 to 4 months ahead of time. So we came down to do one show. How do people come down here now and say, I want to do a show on You know, Nick Coelho, the Nick Coelho show.
The Nick Coelho. They just have to come and, like, so I have a show proposal form. I actually recently did this with one of our members who's trying to create a new show. So they'll just come in, you know, for instance, the other day, so the BVAA comes in a lot, right? They're artwork kings in the studio.
BVAA.
Blackstone Valley Art Association.
Okay.
So
It's just you use terms.
Yeah, yeah.
And we throw them around
yeah,
here. But
yeah. No, that's fair. So anyway, they have a meeting, and so actually, our director Brent networked me with somebody who was interested in a show. So I said, okay. So I had them come in. I show them around the studio. We talk about, you know, what exactly you would like to do with your show. For instance, he wants to paint, so he wants to do kind of like a Bob Ross-esque type show, you know. And so they come in. Excuse me. They come in. They can pitch me what they want to do exactly, and my job, I think, is to help them bring that to life within reason, you know, with what we can do. And we can do a lot if we get creative and we figure it out. We can do things for people, for show ideas that they have. Really, we've had shows where we've done a lot. I mean, you know, we've done Sunny Speak, you know, we go out, we'll go interview people, you know, all these different shows. We'll try and cater to our members as well as we can. And you know, again, if it's nothing too ridiculous, then we can typically do it. So, you know, if anyone is ever interested, they can always just come down and fill out that little proposal form and, you know, pay their $15, and then we can make them a show. We'll train them up, you know, and we'll pair them with a director, an editor, or if they want to edit by themselves, they can. And, you know, we'll help them create a show.
well, it's nice to see. You know, RJ started. He was behind the cameras as the camera guy. Malcolm the Wunderkind. I mean, he was behind the cameras. And little by little, you see them stepping forward and doing shows. I mean, one of the things I love that Malcolm did is we went through a tour with Jonathan Bruce and Aldo Chakey of the New Woodland School. I got more comments from people because they don't have the time. You know, especially some of these single parents who, I don't know how they have the time to live. You know, when you see them working all day and then having 2 or 3 kids to try and shepherd at night. But, you know, I had a couple mothers tell me they really enjoyed having a glass of wine and seeing the original Woodland when it was being built and then the final. But that was all through a high school kid here, that he had the multiple cameras, he had all the stuff. Aldo, Jonathan and I just walked around and talked. Made life easy.
Oh yeah, no, it's great. We have so many talented individuals here, and it's, you know, it really shows with a lot of our programming.
We do, and Malcolm's just one of those individuals. And I mentioned Joey earlier. Just seeing how many feature short films he's created,
Yeah,
and
well,
he's submitting them
A
into
kid
film
from
festivals.
the Milford area
He's-
doing a short film that he's submitting.
and winning. He
And-
just won the bronze over at Quinnipiac for his last one.
But he was submitting to real film festivals.
Oh yeah, a lot of film festivals will take him. Yeah, they'll take student, like, because, you know, he is a student, so, you know, and he's making very good student films, and so he's bringing these and bringing them to festivals and all that stuff, and, you know, that's how you get recognized. That's how you start.
If I can use this opportunity
Oh
to
yeah,
segue
no, I think this is a great
into,
segue actually.
some really great things that Milford TV has been working on, and I'm so happy to have Nick on board because, I mean, I'll toot your horn all day because you have been doing fantastic.
See, somebody
Oh, thank
loves you.
Somebody shows the
Just the
recognition.
opportunities you've been creating for multiple people. Just going back to the girls you were with yesterday, and how you networked them with an individual who was interested in improv and gave them the opportunity to now use those skills and create a improv show.
Oh yeah, and yeah, they were having a great time.
So, sidetrack. But Nick is actually going to be taking the lead on developing a film festival this year for Milford. So we're trying to establish a film festival that will hopefully take place in August. The rules will be created this year, in the next month really, where we have a committee that we formed as part of kind of a subsidiary of our board, where Kevin Rudden is our chair. And he is helping us establish the funding we need through grant writing, as well as reaching out to community individuals to become sponsors of this endeavor. And really, it's an opportunity to hopefully get a lot of the Milford community residents involved with not only Milford TV, but with their community. Being able to look at the categories that we'll have and create a fun video. And hopefully they come in here and produce. But we are opening it up to outside of Milford as well, so that we can create other opportunities for other individuals.
But that's great because, when I think of, you mentioned young ladies doing improv. Whether they become actresses or comedians, they'll get new skills. The public speaking skills, the spontaneity, the presentation skills, they can use in business. They can use in all aspects of their life. So, whether they're going to be, the next comedian of the day on TV or not, whatever they do, they can benefit from.
Absolutely. One of the girls, I think her name was Allison, ran by my door mid shoot really, and was so excited with what she was doing. And she said, her exact words, I believe, were, I'm so excited that we're doing this. I'm going to take this to my project tomorrow at school, and we're going to create our own little improv thing.
Oh, there you go.
I was like, that's awesome. So you're absolutely right. They really do take those skills elsewhere, and they can take them anywhere.
So if you had one message to give the community, what would it be?
Come down and get involved. I keep saying it. We're not scary. We're here, and hopefully we are as approachable as you find us to be. So we want everyone to get involved. We want to be able to get ourselves out to more events that we may be unaware of. Again, we just want to make ourselves as accessible as possible.
And you can look at the events. I know that since you're booking so much content, there's no time for a bulletin board. But
Not as much.
But you can go on the website, and the bulletin board's always there.
And we still run bulletin boards.
Well, you do, but it's not like you're going to show a bulletin board 20 minutes of the hour.
Yeah.
Right.
The old days you did, because you had no content.
Yeah, no, they'll still be up there, and again, you can find them on the website, all that good
Well,
stuff.
thank you for all you do. I look forward to seeing this place continue to grow, and hopefully the funding won't get in the way, but I have a funny feeling Milford always seems to take care of people who take care of us and our kids, so I wouldn't be too worried that the community wouldn't get behind you. And to our 6 loyal viewers, as always, may God bless. May tomorrow be a better night than tonight, and thanks for joining us. Good night.
Not too long since I've been home. Been running all my life just